Welcome back to the Telosive EV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're back
with new music.
New music. It sounds brilliant.
Can I just
Thank
say,
you, Randy, for putting in the time.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
For the suggestion. I really like. It's just us here, right? I like this one more than the new tech music. To be honest with you.
Okay. I do too. I like it.
It was very.
And I'm glad it's better. EV deserves. We talked a lot in the tech podcast about this piece of junk.
Oh, wow.
And
you could probably tell by our faces if you're watching us.
Yeah, can you tell?
My cheeks are still red.
You can tell it's either a fad that will die off or it's the next big thing, which is very dystopian and depressing to imagine a world where everybody's wearing the goggles. Either way is not great, but EVs is just hope. It's just optimism for the future. It's just expanding on transportation and making it more accessible, more fun, more efficient, more economical, more environmental. There's just so many advantages and things I'm looking forward to in 2024 in terms of EVs. And I just think the future is a lot brighter for electric vehicles, whereas the reality for our phones and our headsets are that they're coming for our eyes and they're going to take us over.
And in context, the future of EVs is cheaper as opposed to the headset.
Should be.
In context.
Oh, yeah. Headset means we're spending more and more money. EVs should mean we're spending less and less money.
Yes.
Yeah.
2024 does feel more like a hopeful year for EVs. We're finally getting to more
I think so.
cheap EVs, like you said. And also there's just a whole bunch of different companies that are entering the competition, supposedly, like Acura and hopefully Aptera and a myriad of others that I can list off. But I already did too big of a list in the last episode that we recorded, or was that the tech podcast? One of the two.
I want this to be the year. This is the Aptera year. I'm hopeful. I really do think it could be this year.
We're getting there.
I could be let down, but it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be December 31st.
Right.
11 p.m. They hand the keys over to that top
Slow down, Elon. Slow down. We're not...
There is a lot of updates that I feel like we all kind of are owed either to the audience and or each other, because to be a little bit more transparent, it may appear like we talk to each other all the time off the record, but usually we get caught up in life and all that. Randy, I want to know, what was it like going all the way from one coast to another and then comparing that to the other coast to the middle of the United States, and how those have kind of delineated each other in both being a EV and a internal combustion engine car, and then now this time 2 EVs, and then what the heck happened to the internal combustion engine car?
That's true.
And a child.
And a child with 0 emissions almost. Yeah, it's true. I never talked about the old Toyota just yet. Quick asterisk to your last note before leading into that one. Normally, we are 2 months almost to the date of the last time we did the podcast, and that was the season finale. Now we're doing version V5, right? So we are all cylinders, so to say, going. But normally, in between all those gaps,
what cylinders?
We do. Mike is a little missing. We do communicate in between shows. This was one of those weird occasions where there's a lot happening as we were just kind of setting up right here. So there's a lot that did happen. So I have no idea.
Thank you for saving your move to be in between seasons, because if you would have moved at another time of the year, you would have been missing from the podcast for a good 2 months.
To be fair, Randy did kind of delay this podcast a little bit, so I will blame you just a tad bit for your moving, but it made it all that more worth it.
To be fair, either.
Oh, there.
I would not have been able.
Woo!
Okay.
Man.
Well, make me the bad guy. That's
I'll
totally
throw
fine.
Randy under the bus, even though if you guys would have been ready, I wouldn't have been ready either.
Y'all are
Switch
slackers.
the back up here.
Yeah, but it was totally Randy's fault. Yeah, I was ready actually.
But to be fair, I'll say I said this in the other show, but if people just check out this one, which I encourage, I'm not doing this again. I made the notion of this years
Doing
ago
what?
that I was like, this is
He's
temporary.
not doing this podcast ever.
Oh, now we have to find another
I
person.
said-
All right, I'll call Nick.
I said everything was temporary about this me going cross country because of military and all that stuff. But this is different.
You did.
For the first time since pre-COVID, I have a sense of stability, and I'm playing the long-term game. So what you see
Good.
now in the background is an empty backdrop. Will soon, over time, ideally sooner rather than later, you will see my studio come to life. You will see a studio that hosts podcasts. I'm going back to doing I feel so bad leaving my channel alone. Like, I want to go back to making content on my own. And I will also have a musical element, like a guitar, piano, vocals. Like, I'm building this sucker out. So I'm playing the long-term game here. So there should not be another delay because of it's my fault this year. And I was pinged.
It'll be my fault next.
Every week.
I feel like my
for
fault's
2
coming
months.
soon.
Almost 2 months. There's like a 2-week break after we finish. We're like, all right, they'll come back after Christmas or something. Every week since basically the end of the seasons of both shows, at least once, sometimes twice, they're like, hey, where's the pod? Where's the pod? It's coming. It's coming.
I may or may
Where's the
not
pod?
have been in
Where's
that
the pod?
audience as well.
Yeah. So and
Where's the
that was just
pod,
between
Randy?
Drew and Mike bugging me.
It would stop me. I was really not ready. If you would have asked if we could record earlier in the year, I would have said no. I'm sorry. It was not a good time.
I felt like even me doing this today, it's just because I got internet yesterday, but we
You're
don't have much
Superman.
more time left. Huh?
You are an all-star, Randy.
I honestly, I'm on the schedule. I'm on the timeline of the Vision Pro. I'm moving to that because we only get one chance to do this. I have to return it before Friday, so it was really if Vision Pro wasn't a thing, there's a good chance we might not have been back until maybe next week. But regardless, okay. Road tripping, guys. I now got to experience a full EV road trip, moving my family cross country, and things have changed since 2021 when I did it with just the Model 3. When I took old Phoenix and my wife had her Toyota, that was a different experience. This time, it's Phoenix, her car, her Model Y is called Carla. And so Phoenix and Carla are traveling with a baby now. So it's not just Kika pausing to have her go do her potty breaks and, let her stretch her paws and stuff. But now we got a baby doing the same thing. And
Stretching her paws.
I have to say something. I'm going to be completely honest. Drew, in the past, when you have talked about, 2 hours is fine. It's good to take a break and stretch your legs. I'd be like this, but inside I was like, I disagree. No, I want to get there as soon as possible. I always disagreed with your statement. I was like, that's not a hill I'm going to die on. I don't care.
Oh, I didn't believe what I was saying anyway. So it's funny that you secretly disagree.
Well,
sorry.
I
Go
can't
on.
say.
Is this gaslighting?
I can say now that having done a multi-day road trip on EVs, I was excited to hit the next checkpoint of just pausing and not rushing and I gotta stretch my legs. I got out of the car and I'm all cramped over and bones are everything's joints are tight.
So you're saying you liked the frequent stops this time?
I did. I needed them.
Okay. Actually, I meant what I said before. I wasn't fake. So I'm glad we agree.
I agree. Whether you're telling the truth or not, I agree with the statement you made about like, oh, I could, 2 hours is enough to get to stretch your legs. I was like, that's dumb. No, just get there as quick as possible. And now that I've had a point of knowing that, well, let's just see how long we can drive today. And that was the headspace. I enjoyed the breaks. I enjoyed the different rest stops. I enjoyed seeing how each stop had something almost different to offer. No two charging stations are the same cross country, and there's way more options this time than there was back in 2021 when I went cross country. That was a true coast to coast. And that one,
that's good to hear.
Was like, I just want to get there. Let's just keep driving. And I just like boom boom. And to be fair, less regulations back then. I didn't really use FSD this time around because it was not a comfortable experience. I just cruise controlled it.
What was the setup typically?
Your money's worth.
Were you typically in Phoenix while Brittany and Sage were in the Y? Okay.
Yes. Our cars were stuffed to the brim because we were in Carla. We didn't know if when we were going to get our household goods. Only to find out that our household goods got here before we did. So that was a whole thing. But for the most part, I drove Phoenix. And Phoenix, my co-pilot was Kika. And in Carla, it was Sage. He was just backseat driving the whole time. And we would just rotate drivers. Like, okay, you take Phoenix for a little bit, and I'll take Carla. Oh, okay, I'll take Phoenix and all that stuff. So it was just like a rotating of that.
Did you stop at the same chargers?
Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about. For the most part, eventually, yes. Eventually, we got on schedule. It was weird because when we were leaving Virginia, we actually, I didn't talk about this on tech. What actually happened? It got really hectic. Negative 1 day before even departing, not knowing. Oh, I guess we're leaving now.
Interesting way of saying the day before.
If it's T-1 day, it got hectic. T-, not on launch, and
wow.
We as in me and Sage drove up to DC a day before we left because the movers were at our house packing everything up, and I was like, I'm just gonna get out of everyone's hair. So I took Kika, I took Sage, and we just went up to DC. One of my oldest friends I've known forever, he is stationed at the Pentagon. So I was like, let me just go hang out with you. He's like, oh, perfect. I actually have the day off. I'm like, can we hang out the whole day? He's like, sure. This could be our, farewell thing. So that turned into the movers being done by like 2 p.m. So then Brittany's like, we're kind of done. I was like, I just got here. So I don't want to just get on the road and drive 2 hours back down. So I was like, how about you come up here and we do a dinner, with the with this family, and we'll say goodbyes and all that stuff. And then maybe we'll go back then. Okay. And then that turned into like, well, everything's kind of packed and now it's gone. Should we just stay up here in DC? Like, yeah, let's just do that. I'm like, oh, okay. So we didn't actually I didn't get to finish packing my car because I took Carla up.
You took a day trip's worth of stuff and not a multi-week or week's worth.
And I drove multi-hours, what would have been part of the inevitable commute of heading to Ohio. The first stop was to go to Ohio and take a couple days there, mainly because I wanted to intercept the Vision Pro. And that's where I knew I was going to be at that Friday. I was like, okay, I'm going to pick it up in Columbus. And I ultimately, it kind of threw things off. And we basically left our house a day sooner than we were planning, which threw off our itinerary a little bit. And then leaving DC, I say this right now, any listeners or viewers, anybody who lives in the DMV, screw that place. It sucks. That if you live in Virginia, like Nova area, that sucks. Baltimore area sucks. DC sucks. All that sucks. Oh my God. The traffic. I left what I thought was a reasonable time early to get on the road to Ohio. And The traffic was so bad. I would take LA traffic over what I had to go through last Friday.
That's terrible.
And that is saying something.
Wow.
Because LA traffic can munch me. I hate LA.
That's pretty bad.
I hate LA.
Me too.
You must have hit a really bad pocket of traffic. Because even when I was in there with
LA.
a trailer, it wasn't that. It was bad, but it wasn't terrible.
Bro,
that just sounds like a
nightmare. They made
nightmare.
a 4-lane road down to a 1-lane road for like miles, and and everyone's like driving aggressive. They're driving like New Yorkers, and Brittany's not used to that. So we got split up, and the roundabouts to get off these on-ramps where we thought we were going to a charging station in DC is just kind of like you think you're getting off something, but it's like the road does this. If you're people watching YouTube, just watch me. Either you go like this or you go like this. You're either doing a quick turn or a wider turn, but they're both exits going this way. So either one's going to make a roundabout or one you're actually making the turn. And that's where me and Brittany got split up. And at that point, there's no way we can get back on the interstate to try to reconnect, fighting that traffic. I lost Brittany for more than half the day, leaving DC and on our way to Ohio. So we spent most of the time in Maryland, passed through Pennsylvania, a little bit of West Virginia, just to eventually just hit Ohio, and we're driving west.
You're driving more north than west, it seems like.
Well, I needed to hit that way because we weren't doing tolls. But in all that chaos that sucked, the charging stations were legit. Like fast charge. People understood the etiquette of giving somebody, like, men, gentlemen, when we use a public restroom, we know the etiquette.
Of course, you had to bring this up.
Yeah, same as a supercharger.
Same, but different. And like, I don't know, the experience was so many more people understood the etiquette, so we could all equally get faster charging, and it was a great way for us to stretch our legs. And coincidentally, it was enough time that we could use to either get Sage a bottle, change his diaper, get Keek out for a second, or both of us has to use the bathroom or eat or whatever. And at no point did I need to charge longer than, I don't know, the longest one was probably 30, 35 minutes before we got back on the road. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's nothing.
I know. So, and then to go back to what you're saying, Drew.
That'll zoom by like that.
I realized that window of charging, a few things I was thinking about during that. One, efficiency over range was in my head. It's like, oh man, just how quickly I can charge this thing and then just get on there and get going. This is more important than having a long battery. If I have to sit here for an hour and 20, I don't want the long battery. I just want to charge and have it's like they know a good 20-minute, maybe 30 is long enough. Most of them were anywhere between 5 and 15, maybe 20 before we just move on, because the charging rate starts to slow down after 50. Well, 50 is like it nukes you to 50 before you even know it. You're like, boom, 50. And then 50 to 60, you're there very quick. 60 to 70, okay. And then right as it's about to hit 80, you get that your car is soon to be done charging. You might want to start making your way back and da-da-da-da-da. And we had it set for 100%. And 80 was more than enough to always continue the trip, because I have an older battery, long range, and it's still more efficient than the performance Model Y. But when Brittany drove the Model Y, I guess I'm a heavy foot driver, because when she was driving the Model Y, we were like, hey, what's that getting you at that station? We would just route station to station. You're getting in at 24%. I'm getting there at, it says 13. Yeah, we're good. We can make it. But if the role was reversed, she have all this extra range. I'm like, maybe I'm just driving too aggressive. I don't know anymore. I cruise control and I'm just coasting. But for whatever reason, she's the queen at efficient driving. But all the same,
Carla just loves her more,
I guess. But it works for Phoenix too. Phoenix, she came. We got here to Colorado, and she was driving Phoenix, and she got here with more of a charge than I would have. even though I was driving more cautiously because I was driving with Sage. But I don't know. Either way, it was interesting to see what a newer battery performance looked like comparative to an older, longer range. And they're pretty neck and neck because at the end of the day, if you're routing to charging stations for a road trip, at no point was it's like, we're going to get there at 2%. It wasn't like that. Even if it was, it would adjust.
It won't let you.
It won't let you.
It will reroute you to a new one.
Dare I say, I had a lot of fun road tripping. That was a lot of fun to do.
Good.
I loved it.
That does sound fun. I love convoys. I love when you and your friends or something are all driving.
We need to do that at some
The
point.
same place together.
Get Pearl,
All three
Phoenix,
of us.
and or I guess
Get
Carla.
a convoy going.
Jarvis.
We kind of did it at the baby shower. Me and Mike were driving our Teslas to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh,
You don't remember that?
We kind of did that in and out when I met up with you guys in the Bay Area. Drew didn't have his at the time.
But that wasn't. Yeah, you didn't either.
Did
you were
I?
in a rental.
Oh,
a rental.
Yeah.
never mind.
I remember we did the whole thing, and then we realized we never took a picture. We should have gotten a picture
That
together.
sucks. Yeah.
And I think the one picture we got was you waving from the rental car at the stoplight as we said goodbye.
Dang it.
We'll do it at some point.
That's why I remember.
Now that you're closer, Randy, was
Yeah.
there any notable states that you enjoyed on the trip going east to west that were a lot more, I guess, exciting
Colorado.
than west to east going from coast to coast, I guess?
To be honest, Kansas.
Okay.
I know.
I'm down with Kansas. I enjoyed Kansas when I was in there
no,
last
Drew's face is how I felt pre-Kansas.
year. Kansas is totally underrated. It is a
Dude.
beautiful state.
What?
Kansas had,
Kansas ain't got no hot wings.
dude.
You don't need hot wings.
Kansas. I mean this outside of Colorado. Obviously, I'm a Coloradan now, so I'm gonna rep this state above all. But
Yep. Get your flannel.
I've been getting the flannel, please.
Please.
Kansas has some of, if not the nicest people I have ever interacted with, and they were all very going out of their way to help you with something. And at first I'm like, maybe it's just the person. Then I'm like, maybe it's just customer service. But then it was just a random person I was talking to at a charging station. Brittany and I both was like, yo, have we been sleeping on Kansas? Not to live, just to like appreciate or whatever. Because it is Flatsville, dude. It is just hills like this. And
Oh, yeah.
it's nice.
It's
when there's a
beautiful
blanket
hills,
of
though.
It is, especially when I'm passing, coming into Colorado. It's nice. And then it starts to get really nice really quick because you start the elevation incline to where you're going to start working towards the mile high. And the first mountain I saw was my mountain, Pikes Peak. I was like, hey. And I was barely into Colorado. And I was like, dang, are we that flat out here? And more or less, yeah, but the hills were nice. But more so than the hills, just the people. I had so much fun just commingling with people who were either charging the car as well or
That's good.
restaurants, hotels. Everybody was so accommodating. We're like, hey, we might need to extend our checkout time a little bit. They're like, don't even worry about it. Still business day, we got you. And then it got pushed again. It's like, we might need to extend it again. And they're like, honestly, if it goes after 3 p.m., just let me know. But until, I was like, no, we should be gone by then. It's like, don't even worry about it. Just let me know. I'm like, that's just how they were. They were really nice people. Kansas was so much fun. I had more fun in Kansas than anywhere else. Views wise, besides Colorado, I actually kind of enjoyed Pennsylvania, to be honest. That was kind of fun. I didn't mind Pittsburgh.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Screw
Pennsylvania.
DC, the DMV area, DC, Virginia, Maryland. No.
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 All right. I won't go.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You don't have to
do
anymore.
My wife was born there. But other than that,
Go.
that's the only good thing to come out of DC. It's my wife.
No politician, no senator, congressman, nothing. No declaration of. No, I'm joking. But
Goodness.
if you're gonna go to the area, do public transit. Take a trolley, a train, whatever. Just avoid that traffic.
Make sure
That
to be
traffic
close to the public transit, unlike me, who had to hike through a forest to get to the public
I
transit.
remember that.
Oh, goodness.
That was
I'll
fun.
share that clip at some point. Maybe I'll put it on Twitter or somewhere else. But I was walking in a storm
Yeah, it was raining.
in Virginia. It was terrible. And also the public transit wasn't that good. But that's exciting. It sounds like you had a lot more fun on this trip going from Virginia to Colorado than you had going from San Diego to Virginia.
That one felt like a chore. I didn't want to leave San Diego. I was forced to leave. I was miserable. That felt like a chore.
It's also a really
And
long
I-
drive too.
It was. I rushed it. I hurried, and that was just me, Brittany, Kika. And I'm like, this sucks. I thought I was gonna feel that same anxiety, and to a degree, it was self-inflicting. But I was feeling that like, oh, now we got a baby, and we got stuff for our cars, stuff, and I got a $4,000 headset in my back seat. That at any point, someone just break. Like I'm freaking out, and it was just so much chill. Columbus, I mean, I got family over there, so maybe I'm being biased, but I had a lot of fun in Columbus. I like being in like cities or even suburbs of a city where there's stuff going on, because while there's downtime, whether you're staying a couple days a night or you're just charging, given the ability to just get out and move around, that's a lot of fun. As in going from San Diego to Virginia, I was driving through Phoenix, kind of, and I didn't even see Albuquerque. Like, I'm in Desertville. It was a drag. It was boring. It was dead. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
Texas, I was in that was such a long drive. The only fun I had obviously would be in Texas or in Austin and going looking at the factory when it was still being built. But dude, outside of that, no.
Oh yeah, you got kicked out of there, right?
Yeah. I thought the camo car, the green car helped blend me in, but no, I got chased out of there. Hey man, you can't be here.
Yeah,
No
that's
photos.
why you didn't get an invite. That's why you're not gonna get any Cybertruck invite events. or
I'll
anything.
try not to lose sleep.
That's all.
But yeah, it was a good experience. I really liked it
Didn't
a
you
lot.
also get to check out or say hi to a viewer of the podcast who has dedicated so many hours to our timestamps?
I forgot about that. Kansas. I won't dox nothing. Kansas. Or was it Missouri? I don't remember.
His name is
St.
Kansas.
Louis. I gotta be honest with you. St. Louis. St. Louis. Overhyped. Sorry. Anybody who's
Oh yeah, St.
whatever.
Louis is way overhyped. I agree.
St. Louis.
I gotta write all this stuff down. Places to avoid.
St. Louis
places to
has
check out.
the best smoked pork barbecue ribs I've ever had in my life. I will fight anybody on that. That was amazing. Outside of that, nope. St. Louis, I was like, can we get out of here, please? That was not Kansas.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Right.
sorry, viewers.
I've moved up Kansas.
Do I shout out? Do I shout him out? Does he know? Has that been publicly posted? I don't know.
We'll wait till the next podcast. How about that? You
Wow.
can get some
You're
consent.
asking us?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Listen, viewer, I met a fan. He was freaking out too. He was like, "This is weird. I don't know." It was weird. I was like, "Nah, it's cool. I'm the same." And he goes, "Yeah, you got something going on."
I feel like that when I meet Randy in person.
Well,
I get excited.
yeah. He said, "I saw you because I saw somebody walking in all green." I was like, "That was a coincidence." I was in
Man
sweats.
embodies
Yeah,
the
it's
color.
pretty easy to spot Randy.
I was not
It's a
in.
very specific hex code.
That's
He's patented.
I did. I'm actually funny you should say that. One of these
Oh, no.
walls will not be like the others.
How are we gonna see you? If you paint the wall green, you're gonna
It's
just.
camouflage.
Camo.
Am I wearing
I
I
green?
can't see him.
Don't look at the watch.
I can already picture a Randy Green Aptera. Looks pretty
Ooh.
sweet.
That'd be nice. But
Just wrapped a little.
the fan
Some
who I
color.
met finally get to meet in person. I said, "I'm more excited to meet you than you to meet me." And like, why? I was like, because I don't know. You've been consistent. We There's certain people that we know from our shows that, like, when you see a name, you're like, I know that guy. I know that name. I've seen this person around. And so when you get to put a face to the name and actually have a conversation, I like humanizing the experience. So I think he was very nervous, or I would say uncomfortable. He was nervous, and I try to like diffuse it by being exactly how I am like this. I think he would attest I'm exactly the same. You guys know, so I mean, but doing that,
I'm not the same.
I have more
No,
fun
you're not.
meeting up with people like that, where Drew's more mean.
Slaps me sometimes too. Say something very audacious. And he's like,
Actually,
"Nah,
you know what's funny,
not
Drew?
having it."
You're actually you are not your persona. You're a very good observer. When the camera's off and you don't have to do the showman thing, you're a listener. You're an observer. You are you're very good at that.
I'm so happy we're doing a Talos of Tells All for the first episode of EV this year.
Mike is the same. Mike is exactly the same. I'm exactly the same. But
I don't even know what I am in person versus on the podcast, but at least moving this car forward. So you would say that you would do it again with Phoenix and Carla on a nice, maybe not cross-country road trip, but a nice, I don't know, day or week trip with the EVs somewhere where you might need
I'm
one or
taking
both.
these cars up into the mountains, baby. We're going into the Rockies. We're gonna push the limits now. That's
Nice.
definitive.
Yeah, you got the all-wheel drive. Take advantage of it. But get ready for snow tires. I don't know if you've done that.
Today I experienced not a slip up, but today I experienced. Well, actually, pun intended. It snowed today, and then it was gone today. The whole give it 20 minutes thing is so real. It snowed bad, and then within an hour to two, like it never snowed. It was bright blue, and the snow was gone. And when this morning I was driving the Model Y, I started getting a little I started sliding a little bit. I was like, oh, I'm just driving, and the butt started going like that. And so even though I stopped, I was still moving. I was like, oh no, and I wasn't driving fast. So that was uncomfortable, but nothing. I did little remedies to fix that. Going into the mountains with the EVs though, definitely gonna try that out because that looks like fun. And to answer your question, Mike, yes, I will be doing more trips, whether they're day trips, weekend trips, or something. No more cross country trips. It's fresh, so that's why I'm saying no more. I need some time to just
You had to do that one. You didn't have a choice on that one, but
yeah.
the future trips.
You're right.
Be more
It'll be different when it's when you want to do it, because we have talked about, and this will actually go back to a question you asked me at the very beginning with the Toyota, the gas car. My brother came out for Christmas out in Virginia, and by this time we already started planning. We just bought this house, so it's like, hey man, take this car. Like, we bought a one-way ticket to come see us. Take this car out to Colorado, take some stuff, and just we'll get it later. So he drove it out here, and I asked him, what was your experience like? He was keeping me updated during the trip, but then after, I was like, how do you feel? And he's like, I'm glad the trip's over with. There's no cruise control. There's no nothing. It's just the beater, old reliable Toyota. And
those road trips take much longer. I've noticed.
He was miserable. One guy in his early 20s, having fun. He could drive as long as he wants, and he did. He was like, I couldn't wait to be done with it. Me, I'm like, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I feel great.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
So it's out here, but we're thinking about maybe moving that car out to California to let that be our permanent rental car for when we go visit our family, which, coincidentally also can tie into others. And so we're not completely stranded. So that's a discussion we're trying to figure out. So to be determined. But for now,
I feel like you forgot the size of California, but okay.
My family's no longer I was the family in San Diego. I'm talking about my family.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah.
You haven't forgotten the size of California.
I was my family.
I was the family. People came to me.
It was me all along.
I'm
visiting me.
It was
I'm
me,
thinking about
Barry.
visiting me.
I was the family.
I visit me
should
every
do a
night
U
before I go to bed.
On that note,
Drew,
you've been saying you're okay with the more frequent breaks on the road trips. Does that make you more attracted to the standard range Rivians, which recently became available to order?
Only Rosio daughter. That's what I felt like I was doing. That's what I felt like I was doing. That's what I felt like I was doing. I adjusted the mic and I was like, you have called Rivians pigs in early. Yeah, Drew's missed me.
Only Trevor Milton.
You have called CEO founders trash, thieves. Only Trevor Melton. Yeah, that's great. Oh, that one got me turned up. That was great. So what I was trying to do when I was doing that was only if the efficiency is there. Standard range is good. All I care about is efficiency.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
They're getting 106 kilowatt hours to go 270 miles. That's pretty much the same efficiency as the Cybertruck. 2.7.
I feel spoiled, man.
Miles
That's
per
the thing.
kilowatt
I feel. Yeah, I'll say it. I feel spoiled. That's the thing. I want a Rivian. Yes, but
Eventually. I know it's not in the next couple
You
years.
have the
but
justification now
that's
for
not what I'm
being
talking about. I'm
Colorado.
just like I need
Everyone
every
drives them
other.
there.
I need every other EV to get up to 2019 Model 3 type of standards of efficiency.
Yeah, yeah.
I need them to at least do that before I could take any of these guys seriously. And I have faith and hope that we will get there. But until then, like I will always be rooting for the rivals or competitors or whatever you want to call them, the other people, the other brands out there, but
The misfits.
the square pegs in a round hole,
The crazy
the
one.
crazy ones. I will always still be rooting for them, but I am a diehard Tesla owner, 2 times over now, and that doesn't feel like it's going to change until we get. I know what I need from an EV now, which is coincidentally what we all kind of write our ethos off of. If I was a single guy, or at least not a parent, Aptera would obviously be the one I'd root for immediately. But as it is, it's like, well,
Me too.
I don't know. Mountains and Colorado. I feel like Rivian is supposed to. They just opened up a service center here. They're or if not, they're about to. They just announced.
Oh, sweet.
They announced on Twitter today, X, excuse me,
That's awesome.
that there's a.
No, it's Twitter. You had it right.
Thank you. It'll always be Twitter. That they're opening up. Like I just,
Yep.
I have high hope for Rivian, and I hope the R2 platform makes them, not breaks them, because I kind of need them to succeed.
Me too.
I don't want them to be one of the statistics.
That would be pretty nuts to see how far Rivian has gotten in terms of production and deliveries. And if they went under, it would be quite a scary reminder everywhere. I see Rivians all over the place now. So if they were bankrupt, but we were still seeing them all over. Yeah. It would be a painful impact to, I think, the entire EV investment community. I think everybody would be super hesitant to invest in EV startups again if Rivian went under. So that's why I'm rooting for them. Part of the reason I think the R2 should have such low range numbers is because I'm like, R2 needs to be the profitable one, not the desirable one. This needs to be good enough, fine, doesn't do all of the crazy features, preserves the R1 lineup, because they want that boxy design. It's not going to be easy to get that thing to go 300 miles.
Yeah.
and profitable.
We need them to have their iPhone SE. That's what we need. Yeah.
Yeah, they need their cheap model.
Yeah.
Their no bells and whistles. This is their Model 3, which is why I'm so excited for the R2 unveil. We've got less than a month.
We have
I know.
4 weeks.
Should be
In 4 weeks, we will be
4
talking
weeks.
about this because it happens on Thursday, and then I think Friday we record these. So it will be the day after the unveiling that we'll have our thoughts on all the specs, hopefully,
Wow.
that they'll unveil. I kind of disagree with
I'm
you, though,
excited.
Drew, with the whole it
hear
needs
it.
to be the Model 3 because I agree it needs to be the better entry-priced Rivian. I don't think it needs to check off all the things that the Model 3 checks off for Tesla today. It took a while for the Model 3 to get to where it is now. And I think that's
Oh yeah.
the path that the R2 platform needs to take. No matter whether it's an R2S, an R2T, an R2A, R2C, all the different trademarked or patent names that they got in their list of names for this thing. I think it needs to start out with a little bit more of a inefficient and pricier, a little bit more luxurious entry, and then make its way down, kind of like how the R1S and R1T are doing it with the standard range and standard range plus packs. It seems like they are pretty much following the rule book of Tesla. We have the 85D battery, and then we go all the way down to the 60,
Yeah.
and it just makes
Even standard and standard plus. They did this exact same
yeah.
Did they
terminology.
really? Hang on. I gotta see.
In a
that.
way,
they
yeah.
did.
With the Model 3, they did standard range and standard range plus. With the S and I don't know about the X, they did it somewhat when they had their badging corresponding with the battery size. And so I think it's pretty
I
much
remember
in my
that.
mind that the R2 is going to take time to get Rivian to where Tesla got, and Tesla, it's just going to be a whole repeat in history. And that's why I feel like it's not going to be a make it or break it per se. I keep on using that word per se, but at least
You do, per se.
yeah. But I guess where my head is at with them is that I'm pretty confident that they'll stay around. It's going to be a rough road, but they have been the company both physically and in financial ways, the ones that can tackle it. And so I don't think it needs to come in at a crazy good price when it first either gets unveiled in a month or whenever it gets released in 2025 or 2026. That it's okay if it's a little bit pricier because it's got all that time to fill the backlog of orders, because I'm sure everyone is anticipating this and wondering what will come out of Rivian as a consumer-friendly or I guess financial-friendly product. Even me, I've somehow found myself pigeonholed in this idea of, am I the crossover person that just loves the new crossover that comes out next? And I'm feeling
You
these
have a
feelings.
lot of options.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. I appreciate the Bronco for what the Bronco is. It is a adventure vehicle, but I feel like it was a missed idea from Ford, or at least a missed action item from Ford, to make a Bronco Sport an electric or at least hybrid type of drive system.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where the R2 is going to eat Ford's lunch.
Mike,
So, yeah.
what do you think of the Maverick?
I think the Maverick's great. I don't know if the R2T makes sense for Rivian. I think the SUV should basically be their bread and butter for R2 for the next
It will be
2 to
They've
3
said that.
years of its initial production of the R2 platform. R2T could come maybe 5 to 10 years probably after the initial production of the R2 platform. And that's perfectly fine. I don't think we need an R2T today because the R1T is already satisfying somewhat of what the Ranger, the Ford Ranger market is.
Okay.
But a Maverick would be nice. I think Ford could
I
easily get in
disagree.
there with the T3 if it's smaller than a F-150 Lightning. But those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts then, Drew?
I think we need an R2T sooner, not sooner than the R2S. They've already publicly stated that the first R2 will be more of a SUV. They've teased the image of it, I'm sure. SUV is higher in demand, and R1S is their best seller, so it makes sense to start with that. But the thing I'm trying to come back to is not so much that the R2 needs to be low entry price. I do agree they'll start with the high end options and work their way down. My main concern with the range estimates people are expecting is R2 needs to have a quick path to profitability. I don't care what you charge for it as long as you're bringing in revenue from it, because R1 is not bringing in revenue. Even if we didn't factor in their growth expenses, they're losing 30 grand a vehicle. So you can't just keep ramping R1 forever, otherwise you bankrupt the whole company. So the path that R2 needs to follow is, how do we turn a profit here? Mm-hmm. How do you make a product that's desirable that can keep the company afloat? Because Rivian has been living very luxuriously. We can attest from their first mile event we went to. Very fancy. Everybody's giving out snacks, and they got all these demos. They're living like there's no tomorrow, and they've got all this cash, so they're comfortable burning it, but it's not going to last forever. There you go.
Yeah, there's my pins from the first mile event.
Yeah, we still have our guest parking pass
so jealous.
That turns into flowers when you put it in the soil. It's an amazing brand.
Are you serious? Is that
an amazing product?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave you a parking pass with flower seeds in it, and it breaks down in the soil and water.
Don't make me like this company more. That's cool.
Oh, dude, we still have our wristbands, and they were totally free. We didn't charge anything to get in there. They just hand you all this stuff, and that's evidence to me of Rivian being this lavish, like, oh yeah, we can afford that. Let's
RJ's the guy I bring home to my family.
Yeah, RJ is very bougie, but the numbers ain't looking too good.
Yeah.
And I think part of what's caught me on this hype around smaller vehicles is Tello.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether or not Tello makes it, they're so right ideologically about the concept of EVs should have been the moment where we rethink form factors. We have so many big vehicles and big trucks and big SUVs that are based around poor EPA standards that automakers were trying to work the way around of. And then we quickly tried to transition those dated form factors into electric, which required giant battery packs. And that's not cheap. And I think that's part of the reason they're not profitable on the R1s, is because they're big, inefficient vehicles, relatively, that have massive battery packs. And if we start kind of pushing more towards that Maverick size, not just with the SUV, but eventually if we get into smaller pickup trucks that can still be utility focused and just a bit more space efficient with the packaging, but require smaller batteries, therefore be cheaper to build. I don't know. You're constantly battling with that. We want there to be good demand, but we also need there to be good profitability. That's what Tesla's mastered the art of, finding that middle ground of,
I think there's
high demand.
To be fair for Rivian, I think there is that middle ground though for them, where they can still, in this process of, like you said, they need to get to be profitable as a company. So if that means it comes at the cost of you have to build a little bit bigger vehicle like the R1T and the R1S, which is quite hilarious when comparing it to a bunch of other vehicles that you see on the road.
Yeah, it's not the biggest.
They're not the biggest, but they're still pretty big vehicles. If that comes at the cost of people are now interested, or I guess not the cost, but the benefit, that people are interested in your brand, they love your message, and they love your vehicles, I think that's okay. Because you're generating that interest and that hype for someone to stick with it, in which it's shown in many... I forget the document, but there's a nice report about it on Rivian being at the top of the list for customer satisfaction. And that's where they need to stay.
They're building a brand.
Yeah. That's where they need to stay.
And I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, for the next 5 to 10 years. Because that means they're going to get so many different people wanting to get the next thing because they trust that company and what they deliver, and it'll be exciting and fun, and how they want to see the world is adventurous. And so
Totally agree.
If that means that
and
they
I
have to
think
make...
Tesla's underestimating that,
Yes.
personally.
Agreed.
I think Tesla's assuming brand power isn't that valuable. Tesla's all about the specs. Tesla just thinks low price, good range, fancy car, haha, ambient lighting, wow, no gear stalks. They're just like, we have the better specs, full self-driving, we can do that, no one else can do it. So because we have the best specs, we're going to sell the most. And I think Rivian has a better expectation or understanding that a lot of people don't buy based on logic. They base on brand, and they base on... So a lot of people buy based on like fashion. It's just like how this vehicle is going to reflect me everywhere I go, where I park, where I get out of. This is a representation of me, which is why, even though I love this freaking Cybertruck, a ton of people will never buy it, even if the specs are great, even if it's affordable. There's still a bunch of people that are like, that's weird. I can't show up to a family gathering or a meeting with a client. I can't represent that everywhere I go. And I think that's what Rivian has geniusly prioritized, is establishing good brand power. And I think that goes a long way. But yeah, and you're right. The R1 basically never was intended to be profitable. I think the R1 line was from the beginning intended to build the brand, get people in love with the concept of what it stood for. A lot of people, we talk about Subaru all the time, a lot of people just will always buy Subarus because they've had a good experience with them in the past. Doesn't matter if there might be some cheaper option or better efficiency or whatever. They know they love their Subarus, so they're going to keep buying Subarus.
Following like with
yeah,
I've seen that.
That's my mom.
I have so many friends that are diehard, just like, I will only buy Subaru.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you tell me about any other brand. And I'm like, that's going to be a hard sell. If we're talking about this whole EV transition, it's not going to be easy to switch these, Subaruists. What do you call the cult? Subaru. Subaruvi? The Subaru?
Make some people mad.
It's not going to be easy to switch these guys over. So Rivian is working really hard to build that brand so that people trust them and come back to them but you can only lose money on the R1 for so long. Yeah. And I don't think the R2 can be another loss leader. I don't think they can afford, they can't survive if the R2 keeps losing money for the sake of build the brand. So this is like the complex maneuver that Tesla did that Rivian's kind of following, which is when you're in the middle of your production hell, you spend like crazy and you're almost crashing on the ground. And then at the last second, thanks to volume and lots of demand, you're able to turn a profit before you actually hit the ground and go bankrupt. So that's a really complex maneuver.
And they called me crazy.
That's probably what the stock will do. Something like that. I think it'll get a lot worse before it gets better. But it all counts on how profitable is the R2. I feel like
buy high, sell
that's
low.
Why I
that's
think
what
it's
I
make
say.
Or break. There's an interesting strategy.
My favorite question is going to be in a month to you, Randy, is would you consider an R2 over an R1? And maybe that's a nice little preface for you to think about for the next 4 weeks.
I will tell you this.
Spoiler, yes.
I tell you this much. Understanding the weather patterns I'm experiencing here now, I only has a slight hesitation. Like, do I want an SUV over a truck? Because I don't know if I want to keep, like, I would want a bed cover or at least something like
Manual tonneau comes with the R1T, I think.
I want an
R2S permanent tonneau.
I want.
It's not a tonneau.
I want more time. That's what I want. That's
sure.
Man on Fire. I just did a Denzel Washington. He says, "I wish you had more time," when he's about to blow this guy up. Anyway, that's a flashback.
I've seen that. Very shaky camera movie.
Yes, it's supposed to be
but it's good.
Action or whatever. When he has the guy tied to the car. My friend, it was just business.
Yeah.
It was just business. It was just business. That's what I keep hearing. Yeah. Anyway, I will let you know in a month. We'll talk in a month. I feel I'll do more Donald Trump to get you going, Drew. Oh, I know what you like.
I just loved you. getting really into Man on Fire. Anyway, they aren't.
I'm worried about the Cybertruck.
Oh,
I'm not.
I'm not.
couldn't make
Are we gonna
it
keep
2
that
months
going?
in.
Should we? Should it have...
Was that the last one?
No.
I'm not worried anymore. It's out. Like
I'm
what
worried
are you
about certain people who are going to try to resell it.
Oh, so you're worried about rich people? Like,
I'm worried about scalpers. I don't know.
don't worry.
I'm not worried
them.
about
They'll be fine.
scalpers.
I don't.
I just wish I could take the mirrors off. I'll be honest. I don't think we talked about this on the podcast. I came very close to ordering a Cybertruck.
How close is very close?
I feel like we talked about this, but maybe we didn't.
I think we talked about it on the lost episode, Mike.
Oh, okay.
Which
That makes
one?
more sense. Oh, they might have lost episodes.
There was going to be an in-person episode with me and Mike, and then I screwed up the microphone, and it didn't get our audio.
Well, then
correctly.
brief us, or I guess brief the audience and Randy.
Last
We
season,
had a talk.
Last season was production hell for the podcast, but now we're good. Now we're smooth.
Now we're
there you
cooking.
go.
We got
we
our
never get
Georgia
out of
plant
that
going.
Tell me about this.
No, we're in
Cybertruck.
perpetual production. I realized it was a bad idea the more I said it out loud. But in my head, I was connecting the dots. First of all, roll back a little bit. Electricity rates have gone up where I live,
Same.
and they were already not good.
Thanks, PG&E.
Yeah, PG&E decided, hey, you know what? I think we hate everyone on Earth.
I think we want more money
So-
again.
They said we could kill everyone or raise our rates, and they decided raising the rates was
Which one's more
slightly
evil?
cheaper.
Slow and painful or quick
So-
and fast? Let's make it slow and painful.
Right. So we used to have our off-peak price at 25 cents a kilowatt hour, which is not great for the record. I bet Colorado's like a fraction of that. I wouldn't be surprised if where you are it's like 10 or 15 cents a kilowatt hour. For my parents' place, it's like 6 cents a kilowatt hour. So we had 25, and we thought, yeah, okay, whatever. This year in 2024, they upped it to 35 cents a kilowatt hour, which now means the off-peak charging price at home is the same price as supercharging. So there is no financial incentive to charge from home anymore.
Yeah.
Which is pretty depressing. And even solar doesn't make sense. They've changed all the rules on solar. The laws about how much energy you overproduce cost. So it really only makes sense if you buy power walls, and power walls aren't cheap. So what I came to an idea of in my head that got me close to placing an order, like to the point we were having a discussion about it. Me and Louise were like, okay, let's think about this. We need to do some math. The Cybertruck has power share.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It can power your house through the onboard battery and this updated high voltage NACS port. And we, thanks to the viewers of the channel, have many free supercharging
Yes.
credits. So I got it in my head.
Oh my God. I
Rear-wheel
see
drive Cybertruck would be much cheaper. What if we charged the Cybertruck for free and then powered the house with the free charging? Now it's not necessarily just a vehicle investment. It's actually a big power wall. And then the other issue we've had with the concept of getting solar power walls is we don't know how long we're going to live in this house, depending on lots of external factors I won't get into. We could be here for short term. We could be here for long term. Yeah. I was like, well, if we get a Cybertruck, we can take those batteries with us wherever we go. We could use it here for the power share, and then we could take it to the next house if we live somewhere else, or if we move out of state, we could take it there, and we'd still have, it'd be like a giant moving power wall station that would help us offset electricity costs. So that was the concept. And then saying it out loud, I was like, but then I have to own a Cybertruck. Then I have to drive around a big old thing everywhere. I'm not a big truck guy. I have seen the Cybertruck in person many times now. I'm actually going to go sit on one
On
You're
one.
gonna sit
I'm
on
gonna
one.
go sit. Want to get a feel.
It's really
I'll
cold.
sit in one on Monday.
Wow.
And
I got
on one on
I
Tuesday.
got a contact.
I just see Drew kicking his legs up
Yeah.
like this. Whee!
Windshield wiper kicking
Do
them
some
up and
in
down.
it. No, that wiper would send me over the mountain. Those wipers are strong. Lars said it was like 800 watts or something. Sheesh. I think the motor for the Cyber wiper might be stronger than the Aptera powertrain. It's that powerful. Yeah, I've seen it in person several times now. I went with Rivian Mike to check it out, and so he could see it in person. And then after I got Apple Vision Pro, we said, hey, let's go check out the Cybertruck while we're waiting around. So we went back and looked at it again. It's big.
Yeah.
For a guy like me, it's a big truck. I don't think I'd enjoy driving it. I'm an efficiency guy as well, and the Cybertruck's definitely not going to be as efficient. Also, it's quite a dangerous gamble if Tesla changes the referral program, which they could at any time.
I was going to tell you
So
that
if they
part.
suddenly said,
Yeah.
hey, what if there's no more free supercharging? I'd be like, yeah, then I'd be kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't,
Time
then
to
I'd be like, oh,
resell.
crap. Now I got to pay
They
more
changed it
per
before.
mile.
That's the thing. We saw.
They've changed it.
So yeah.
Thinking about all that, we were like, yeah, it's kind of a big gamble to assume that, for one, people are going to keep using my referral code, and for two, that Tesla won't change the rules, especially because of a guy like me. They'd probably see me doing that and go, no, let's not. Let's not let people do that.
A freak.
But that was the debate we were having. But what it has gotten me on board with, because the refresh Model 3 has come in the US. I don't think we've talked since then.
No, we haven't.
I've gotten to test drive it. It's amazing.
Lucky duck.
It's an incredible vehicle. Super smooth, super quiet. Definitely felt like a whole different vehicle, honestly. And so many people on Twitter today even. I was like, Tesla was emailing me, choose your vibe with Model 3. They were like just sending me random emails. You know you want this. And I'm like, shut up. I know. I can't do it right now. And people are like, "What? You should get the refresh Model 3. I know you like it, and it's way cheaper."
I just bought a Vision Pro. I
Cybertruck,
can't.
Obviously. I know. There's no money left anymore. They keep coming up with cool stuff. But at the same time, my wife and I still originally, before we bought the Model 3, we were still originally aiming for the Model Y, and then it was just too expensive at the time, and we didn't want to wait anymore. So I have had it in my head, if we do buy another Tesla, we're going to wait for the big refresh, obviously, with the ventilated seats and the ambient lighting, and we'd probably prefer it to be the Model Y, but also
Model Y wins again,
I'm in no hurry. Yeah.
I'm on the
I
right
mean,
side of history.
so far.
Oh, I didn't know you were
We'll
conservative.
see.
Oh my god.
So progressive of you to live in
Tucker Carlson in
California.
here.
Wait, here's the Tucker Carlson face. So Ukraine.
Oh no. All right, anyway, thank you, Randy. He's doing his Tucker impression. Oh no. My point is, it's much easier to wait for a future EV when you already own one. That's the conclusion I've come to, is like, we were tired of waiting when we had the old Hyundai. It was not easy to keep waiting wait for next year, wait for the 4680s, wait for the refresh. It was like, nah, we're tired of paying for gas. The engine's acting up. Let's just bite the bullet now. The car's great. We still love it. We're still driving it a ton. But now that I have one, and it's not that old, I'm comfortable rocking it for a bit longer until we can get, this is kind of my dream wish list of a Tesla. We want the ventilated seats, want the ambient lighting, of course, but we also want, hatchback would be good, Model Y. But I want it to be small. I don't want Cybertruck-sized vehicle just for, power share capability. And I hope eventually they bring power share to a smaller vehicle, whether it be a Y or 3 or whatever, and hopefully qualify for tax credit and all that. So maybe
You just
one day
need USB-C,
down the road,
and that's how you did. Just
we got that. But yeah, there's a few things I'm waiting for, and I just wanted to put that out on the record because these are big purchases. I don't plan on buying a new Tesla every couple of years.
Right.
I plan on maybe buying, 5 or 6 in my lifetime. So, and the goal is to keep this Model 3 lasting until they release one with power share. I would also really like steer by wire, but everyone's telling me that's never going to happen. I guess it's exclusive to the Cybertruck forever. But
Boo.
maybe the next
Nothing
gen
is
vehicle
ever
will
exclusive
impress
forever.
us or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't count the ducks.
That's what
yet.
I said.
It's not.
I kept saying, why not? If they're refreshing it and they're trying to make it more efficient,
Yeah.
reduce the amount of wiring, go to the 48 volt, go steer by wire, and simplify the internals. But everyone's like, no, Drew. They only said they would do that on new vehicles, not existing
Oh
ones.
no! Don't go off of what they
Okay.
only said. That is not a good track
I don't
record.
believe them.
Yeah.
Even though they said that, I still felt like, we'll see. I
Yeah.
guess I'll be waiting longer then because I don't want to buy another Tesla that doesn't have power share. That's my final thought.
Yeah. I think
That's fair,
point proven. Let me
especially a Californian person.
let's stretch
Yes.
let's stretch
yes.
the timeline a little further. I will be year 5 this year with my Model 3. Feels like maybe I'm hitting year 2 this year. Like it I am not in a hurry. You're right. Once you get the first EV, so there's an old saying with musicians. They say you have your whole life to release your first album, and then you have about 24 months subsequent to always release the next, and then you're supposed to be in this cycle of things. Reverse that with EV ownership. You have really quick time. Like, I really want to get this EV, and then once you get it, you have all the time in the world, because even as this road trip has shown for me, the longer I use it and the longer I have it, the less money I'm saving more money the longer I use it. I'm not in a hurry to buy something new, even if it is. My dream sheet is really ventilated seats, but I'll just cool the cabin down. You know what I mean? Like,
That's what Rivian Mike said too. He was like, "Oh my god, I want this ventilated."
I just want that. I just want some air, on my tush to keep me from, So
But that's such a small thing to upgrade the whole car over,
Exactly.
which is why
that's my point.
I agree with wait as long as you can, because the longer you wait, the better the car will get, and
That's true.
more features they'll come up with that they haven't done yet. Who knows what
I'll
they'll
be
add in
happy with
future
just. I'm happy now. I'm not complaining.
gens.
That's the thing. That's
Yeah.
genuinely the thing. Like, sure, I wish I had a hatchback,
That's okay.
power trunk, and ventilated seats, but I'm doing just fine. Everything's great.
I'm in the same seat as you, Randy. I took a nice long look at the Y about a week ago, sitting in the parking lot at my work, and I couldn't help but smile as I was walking kind of around it, getting into the job site, and just realizing I've had this car for nearly 4 years now. It turns 4 this month in terms of being
Wow.
manufactured. It was manufactured in February
4
of
years.
2020.
Huh.
Low VIN as well, so it's
Yeah, that's quite a testament to Tesla's build quality.
Yeah.
You've made it 4 years. It's
and
still
nothing has
kicking.
gone wrong besides the very initial some of the tailgate stuff, but I've got no plans on getting rid of it. The only plans that I do have for it is if it gets into a wreck, what's next?
Right.
Otherwise, there's no plans on leaving it.
Oh, I know
behind.
exactly what I'm doing if I get in a wreck.
Model Y, $39,000. Perfect.
No, I'm getting that 3, the LFP Model 3,
Oh,
the
okay.
refresh.
All right.
Oh, it would. That would technically be the spec for spec, right? If someone totaled my car, heaven forbid, like, what would it cost to replace it? Oh, that's it. See, that's the new one. Give me that one,
Give
white on
me-
white.
Give
Actually,
me-
I would take ultra red. Ultra red in person looks so sweet.
I'm still
I
waiting
love
for
it.
Quicksilver to come over to the States, and they're just not budging.
I know. Come on,
It's coming.
seriously.
It's coming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
They did open. They opened in Santa Clara, a rapping studio which is nice.
Oh yeah.
So that way I don't have to go all the way. Well, I
Kinda
can't.
tempted.
People who have a 2023 Model 3 or Model Y
Yeah.
can't get.
They only do it if you don't have ultrasonic sensors.
I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed. It doesn't show up in my Tesla store app either. I'm just furious.
Just take a trip
but
down to
I'm
San Diego
curious.
for the fun of it.
I got no family down there.
I'm going to in the next. I do. I'm gonna go see. Blah blah.
Blah
next
Why do you say
couple
blah?
months.
What are you
We
curious
know
about,
what you're
Drew?
talking about.
What?
You said you were curious about something.
What'd you? Oh, I'm curious how well all our Teslas are going to age. I like that we all kind of got them at a different phase in Tesla's history. Mike got like, let's just admit it's the first Model Y. Let's not kid ourselves. It's pretty much the first Model Y that was delivered to a non-employee. I can't verify that, but I don't care. I'm just going to say that because you can't tell me I'm wrong. I know Mike's VIN. It's very low. And there were probably earlier VINs that were used in crash tests and given to employees. So I would say Mike has the first Model Y. And Randy's got the 2019 era Model 3 as well as the more recent gen Model Y. And I've got, relatively speaking, one of the first LFPs Tesla made. I mean, it was within the first year that they started using LFP, but I also got like one of the last Teslas with ultrasonics. And I'm curious how all of these are going to age over time and hold up different cycle life and what things won't go wrong or will go wrong. We've heard Randy talk about, some of the 12-volt issues from the earlier days. And I've had issues with my center display several times now. It happened again on my trip to Mike's.
Ooh, you're having the
Where
software issues.
I'll be on the freeway. Usually, it doesn't happen very often. It almost only happens when I'm road tripping. It's like the screen has a bug whenever it's on for like an hour and a half or 2 hours or something.
Huh.
When I drive around town and around home and stuff, it never happens. But whenever I take a road trip, it'll freeze. And I can't touch it. It'll still move. It'll give you directions and, the speedometer updates and everything. But I just can't touch anything, which is annoying when you're trying to change the climate or open the glove box. And you can reset it even when you're driving. I just hold down the scroll wheels and it reboots and then it's fine. But that's happened 2 or 3 times now whenever I go on a big road trip. And I'm like, what is this?
Mine does the
is
opposite.
Is there a hardware problem? Is there a
Mine
software
does it
problem?
only in the cities. And it's usually not like it's something is disconnected type of situation, or it doesn't want to connect to Spotify for some other reason, and so
Weird.
and so then I have to do
That's
the
annoying.
reset. But it's not a big issue to me when it does that. It's just
No.
all right. Just hold down the 2 buttons for about 20 to 30 seconds, and then it's fine. You want to add, Randy?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just remembered. I was having this frequently enough that I was anticipating it. If I deviate it from my road trip, and it happened after a charging station. This is how I can replicate it. I charge, and then I leave. And if I don't take the exact route, if it like make a left to get onto the road to make a right, and I go right to get onto the road to make a left. If I do something like that, it freezes my next thing I need to do, and then it's locked in like 2 hours, 126 miles until destination to the next charging station, and it never changed. It was locked at that number. It was locked at the next thing. I make a right on that street. My map is moving just fine, and I'm navigating just fine, but everything else is frozen.
Weird.
And I was like,
And this
I
is
didn't
in
really
Phoenix?
think about it. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I noticed that it became an issue when I realized that like my preconditioning of the battery didn't kick on, and that's when I was like, oh, that's an issue. That's actually an issue. I wanted
That needs to be a manual button. I stand by that. There
Yeah.
needs to be a manual way to fast charge. It would help in so many situations.
There's so many times I'm driving, I don't want to route. I just know where to go. I was staying at a hotel that was literally
right.
I was at a hotel literally next door to a supercharging, and
Right.
just got up.
That kind of thing happens all the time.
And I get yelled at. Next time,
And it's like,
for
yeah,
the
next
whole
time you
2
should-
minutes. Get out of here. No.
No, if you could precondition for fast charging from the app,
Yeah.
and you know you're leaving in like 30 minutes, then you could start it. And that's happened to us so many times where like we go to a friend's house for dinner and we're going to charge after dinner,
Yes.
but their house is like really close to the supercharger, so you only have like 2 minutes to precondition, and then it yells at you for not preconditioning, and it's like, come on, just give me the little toggle, the little bacon icons next to a battery, just
boom. Yeah.
fast charge.
I find the
30 minutes before we go.
That's it. Yeah, same way you try to cool down. Okay, let me warm up or cool down the cabin, and also precondition. Yeah. There you go. The thing about the resetting, just holding down the on the steering wheel thing, my issue with that is, and it's just unique to, I guess, foreign areas. I don't know where I'm going. It is extremely inconvenient when I'm like, oh man, I don't know what my next turn is. I don't know when it's supposed to be. When I think about it, no, it's not even that. It's just like
when you're holding the buttons and trying to turn the wheel.
No, it's more
when
like
you're trying to use your blinker on the new refresh.
I can't even see. Oh yeah, that's true. Right? That's. I had this happen in DC when I was trying to. Me and Brittany were trying to get to a charging station, and I foolishly thought I had more time than I did, and so I reset it. I was resetting my screen, and I was like, the turn's coming up, and I don't know the next move. I just know I got to turn right here, and it's like a split, and I don't know where I'm supposed to go.
Oh,
and
shoot.
And now all of a sudden there's no traffic. Now we're moving. Great. And so that bit me in the butt. And that was day one on the leaving. So after that, I stopped doing that. I was like, nah, I've just figured it out. So it just, all that, extra thought and input equals error. Tesla. So that was my bug I'm experiencing with Phoenix. I haven't seen it in Carla, but Phoenix is
it's very unique that we have 3 different software failure situations.
Yeah.
That are not exactly the same.
And we're not going to get them fixed.
No.
They're all very corner cases, or very much corner cases, which just shows that we're still early in the game for software for Tesla. And who knows, sky's the limit for all the other companies.
Yeah.
Honestly, the more time that goes by, the more sense the Aptera approach makes to me. It was like, if you just let the phone do all the navigation through the CarPlay and the phone is just casting it up there.
Let Google and Apple handle it.
Man.
Yeah, they're better at it.
I wish. Where's that next gen CarPlay besides, a 6-figure vehicle? We're supposed to.
Here's the perfect vehicle.
Power.
The Macan EV. The Porsche Macan EV is where it's at because it's got the amazing. It's probably gonna have the amazing charging curve that the new Taycan has. That goes like.
I think so.
Was it 0 to 80 or 10 to 80 in like 15 minutes, which is insane.
Yeah, it was some crazy charging curve.
Being able to do that and then also have the new 2.0 CarPlay, that's probably going to be the next.
And it has the charge port in the same location as a Tesla.
Good.
Which blew my mind.
I was telling you guys last year, the Macan EV is going to be a really fun and cool EV that's coming.
Well, we didn't know that yet.
Okay.
It sounded like a bigger Taycan, but now it's like, oh, wait, you're serious.
Oh, we're doing
You're
this.
actually making... Yeah. I saw the Macan, and I was like, oh, wow, they basically did everything perfectly. That was kind of cool.
Porsche's doing a lot of stuff underneath there that no one's really paying attention to in terms of just
No, it doesn't get enough
optimizing the
credit
charging
that
curve.
Porsche has the best, hands down, charging system.
Mm-hmm.
Other than, I guess they don't have their own chargers, so if you're stuck with EA, that sucks. But
they adopted
assuming
NACS,
in the future we
they're
have
fine.
Yeah, we got NACS coming later, and hopefully more V4s everywhere, so that should help. But yeah, in regards to just the BMS, it's second to none. No one's even close to getting a charging curve that good. And it's like, wow, Tesla, you're not number one EV maker anymore. You're not making the fastest charging. And I think Tesla's best advantage is the supercharger network, and that advantage is probably going to dwindle away in the coming years as more and more people switch to NACS anyway. So
I've been thinking.
that's why I'm waiting.
I
Wait to see how good they can make the product.
Speaking of Tesla losing its footing here, I've been thinking long and hard about this one. I don't know if I should or if I should just wait. I think about pulling the trigger and cashing out my Tesla stock.
Interesting.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
This is gonna sound crazy, but I've been thinking the same thing.
Really? Oh my god! I was like, am
This is
I
gonna
weird?
sound
Am I
I can't
crazy.
believe
But I haven't.
neither of us talked about this.
No. Full disclosure, I think we said it. On
We
this.
haven't talked about this before the podcast,
No.
but I actually had a very similar feeling. Like,
A disturbance in the force.
maybe it's Elon.
Maybe.
Yeah, I sense a great disturbance among Elon. I see Elon being more and more in denial about the state of the company,
Yeah.
and I see the demand.
Never
kind
mind
of
that whole X crap or
dwindling.
anything like that, or anything else. I don't know.
Well, when he threatened to leave because of the ownership of the shares or the voting control, and then the judge vetoed his comp plan, I was just like, I don't like where this is going.
Yeah.
It's like this is getting. It seems like I was always annoyed by the FSD and robotaxi timelines.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize would be even more scary is when he stops giving those timelines.
It's like,
When he stops trying.
just yell at me so I know you still care, and you're not even yelling. That's how I know. Like,
It's like all he cares about is the bot,
oh,
which to me is even more ridiculous.
I'm so sick
I-
of bot and AI and all this other crap that is completely irrelevant to. The reason I'm even telling you this is because of what you were saying about them losing their footing. Is that I've always stood on the premise that they are a battery company that happens to make cars. That is my
Yeah.
stance. And when I feel like
I still agree.
my core position, my core feeling of that, when I feel like that's not being attentive to, I don't know. There's something there where it's like, what was I waiting for? I think I was waiting for dividends to become a thing, because then I would get. Let me see. I think the technical term is a crap load of dividends. Yeah. I looked it up, and so I was like, that'd be a nice payout, and then it becomes passive.
Trying
and
to think how much I have.
Yeah. Anyway, I basically took. No, it doesn't matter. You know what? I'm not. That's not going to be public. So, I've been thinking about like. We talked about this with the headset on tech, like a better use of money. Where can I allocate this money? And this is. To some people, it could be life-changing. And I'm like, I don't want to dismiss that. I got lucky, and that's what it was. I'm not a genius. I'm not nothing. I got lucky. And most people will dismiss that part and try to make their careers off of a lie that they can do something. It's luck. Just like anything else, I just didn't touch it, and I just got lucky. And not that I'm going to try to bet the house again on it, but now that I want to try to preserve some capital, I guess I want to vote with my dollar. I think that's what it is. I want to put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
And just, if not, reallocate it to just broad index funds or something. If not that, if I'm going to put it towards something, I would use it to start saving up maybe the next EV, whenever that may be. I don't know. But what I do know is that I've been feeling like my time as a shareholder in Tesla individually is coming to an end, and I don't know why. There's a disturbance in the force. Maybe it's the same thing I felt about buying the stock back in 2016. I'm like, I had a feeling about then, and maybe I should act on that intuition again, and just maybe move it all to Apple. I don't know. I don't know where my headspace is at, but
I'm with you.
My vision. I don't feel like
Similar.
Yeah, I don't feel like my vision for the company and what Elon or whatever's happening. Like, I don't feel like it's paralleled anymore. I don't think we're on the same trajectory. There's a deviant that's happening, and it's starting to become more wider. And I don't think it's like, oh, can I grab it and pull it back in? It's like it's getting to the point where it's like, I don't know. I don't have any short term holdings, so it's not capital gains on any sense like that. Like, I just feel like I did a thing in my 20s, cool. Let's hunker down and do something else now. I guess I don't know. I'm literally thinking this out loud. I haven't talked about this with anything, but
that's so weird that we both were having feelings about that.
It validates my feelings
at
least. Yeah,
there's more than
it validates my.
There's more than one of us having this. Maybe it was seeing the refresh come out and the prices kind of stayed the same.
Maybe.
And then now they're offering FSD transfers again after they said they wouldn't. I saw that and I was like,
yeah.
This is and this is the first earnings call we had a couple weeks ago where they were like, we're not focused on growth this year. It was like we're in between two big growth curves. Like we've kind of maxed out what we can do with these vehicles. And Troy Teslike has been pointing out a lot on Twitter, like the gigafactories have stopped expanding.
Yeah.
Like they were originally designed to hit 500,000 a year, and now they're kind of leveling off at about a third of that.
Yeah.
And they haven't grown much. So what happened to that 4680 factory in Berlin? They were working so hard on that, and it never turned into anything.
Robotaxi.
Like, what's going on?
What happened to FSD? What happened to just even the? You know what? I'll tell you where the seed first started being planted. I believe when Hertz canceled their whole thing. They're like, okay, we're done with this. We didn't make the money we were expecting.
They started selling off all their Teslas.
It made me look at the landscape more objectively, and it's really hard to do that when you're an investor, because you want to believe in your conviction about why you would front capital. You put money into something. That's with anything. You want to believe that what you're doing is for the right reason. Nobody wants to just throw money away unless you're buying a headset. But I was really looking at the landscape, and I'm thinking this might be a good thing. Maybe it's time to move the money elsewhere because everybody else is catching up, surpassing even. And we all have eyes for other vehicles outside of Tesla, and maybe I want my financial position to reflect that. I don't know. But just not to contradict what I was saying earlier in the show about being an all in on the Tesla, like having the product is great. The vehicles are amazing. The networks are splendid. I love everything that I have going on for me, but that doesn't mean my financial backing reflects that for maybe personal interests, like I could do so much more with that, if not just to preserve my own principle on something. My headspace is really out there. I don't have the same confidence maybe the way I do like in Apple's pretty safe with their trajectories and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good one. It's fine. And I look at Apple as just an extended part of, S&P 500 or something. I'm like, it goes there, let it ride the wave and just don't touch it and leave it alone. And I treat that with Tesla stock and just Tesla as a whole. My reflection on the stock is my reflection on the company. And now I don't know if I have the same confidence. And something's changed. I don't know what it is, but it makes me feel like I should consider pulling out, just to see what else. This is my version of leaving the walled garden, I guess. Like maybe there's something else out there, and maybe I should take some of my prices and go home too. Like a part of me wants to just cash in on what I earned out of that too. So I don't know. I'm more excited about everything outside of Tesla. I'm excited about Rivian. I'm excited about Aptera. I'm excited about Tello. I'm even excited about these old legacy types that are just trying to do something to get, like, because it tells me like we're moving everything forward. Tesla did their part by doing that. So maybe they don't need me and I don't need them anymore in that same sense. I don't know. It's still obviously it's still a very raw thought I'm having. So, yeah.
I'm echoing those thoughts. I'm definitely not buying more.
Yeah, yeah. I stopped. I stopped years ago. I was like, yeah.
Elon took all my money and spent it on Twitter.
Yeah, that was the first slash. That was the first strike. That was the first whatever. I'm like, nope. I don't like that. I feel dirty.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to pay for premium.
I don't know. I'm kind of wanting. It's not a great time right now, but I'm kind of wanting to invest in Aptera out of principle more than anything. Not because I think I'll make a ton of money on it, just because I want them to have it. I don't know. I just feel like I should have some stake in it. I don't know.
Ethically, it kind of makes more sense. Just because
I believe in it
yeah,
more, I guess.
It's a better vision of the future, in your opinion.
Yeah.
It aligns with what you feel.
And I think the problem, right, it's what I feel transportation should be. And to be honest, I don't want to take away from what Tesla's achieved with their charging network. And they're pretty much still the only company to figure out how to profitably build EVs at scale. And that's incredible. I love my Tesla. But the reason I'm kind of torn on the stock is I think it is, if you would have asked me a year or two ago, I would have said, no, it's not overvalued. It's undervalued because they're just going to keep on growing and growing. And now I feel more like there is a chance it's overvalued. There is a chance that people priced in potential robotaxi revenue and potential growth that might not be there. I remember people buying up the stock like crazy a few years ago with this expectation that they were going to grow 50% per year and they were going to hit 20 million by 2030. And now pretty much all the analysts and everybody doing the math and looking at, Giga Mexico getting delayed and Giga Berlin and Giga Shanghai not scaling, or Giga Texas not scaling like they thought they would. And now I'm like, if it really is just an energy company in the end, which it still is a massive one, tons of cars, tons of chargers, tons of solar and Powerwall and all that, I don't know if it can justify this valuation.
Right.
So the growth there might not be huge, and seeing how Elon treats Tesla stock, I don't know if I want to be involved with that.
It goes back to what you're saying with people who like with a Rivian and like, no, this represents me and how I present myself.
Right.
The stock is the same. Like
it's more than just a moneymaker.
Yeah. Do you want to be tied? Listen, cigarette stocks pay dividends, and they pay very good dividends. I don't align with it, so I don't own him. You know what I mean? Like there's things that like it might be financially beneficial for you, but like if it doesn't align with me, the stock part instead of like the Rivian part with that same comparison, for me, like it's more internal. It's like I don't align with what's happening here, so I almost feel like a hypocrite. Then I get that weird. This is how you start getting that weird imposter syndrome a little bit. You're like, how am I supposed to rep you when I don't, like, I'm lying. I'm lying to myself so I can lie to you, so I can lie out loud to be like, I'm making money. But it's like, if you just care about making money, buy these index funds or dividend funds or whatever. Like, something you don't have to think about. Don't. But some people people will drink the Kool-Aid with Elon, and they'll be like, no, what he's doing on Twitter or X is great, and I agree with the Neuralink, and da-da-da-da-da. Buying a Tesla stock is buying an Elon stock. I'm like, look how he treats his own stock then. What does that tell you?
He said it was overvalued.
Yeah. Yeah, no one should buy it.
It's true.
I don't know. I feel like I've outgrown the stock, which is weird to say. Like maybe that's where I'm at. Like
you're a married man now.
I'm a married man. I'm slowing down. I'm not just jumping from state to state, coast to coast anymore. I got a kid.
Sir, it's been 3 days.
Yeah, I appreciate just how Chris and Steve have run Aptera, and
that's another thing.
The transparency.
We forgot to highlight that. They completed the accelerator program, or at least they got all of the crowdfunding that they needed in the time that we were gone.
It's actually the largest crowdfunding project of all time.
That is so cool.
that wasn't crypto related, I should preface, but I feel like that should go without saying.
Yeah, you don't.
There's a few cryptocurrencies that did bigger than that, but as far as like a manufacturable good goes, that they've done over $120 million. It's like, if that's not demand, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
They've literally gotten so far just purely off of fans, people who want the product to exist. They're so passionate about it and they're so into it. And I appreciate how I can just text the head of marketing things and he'll send me answers back. And I don't know. That's the kind of thing I want to be a part of, even if it's not necessarily super profitable. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do it.
I know the word might be overused when with like political campaigns or whatever, but that was a grassroots movement.
Yeah, it was. It's really motive. There's so many people. I was watching the interview on Aptera Owners Club today with all of the accelerators that got the factory tour last week, and so many of them were part of the original Aptera investor group from the 2008 era, back when it was a hybrid. They were like, oh yeah, we've been waiting. We've been very patient about this. It's like, so people are like, oh, when's it going to come out? When's it going to come out? And they're like, just take your time. Just don't go under again and just do what you got to do to make it happen. But some of these guys have been waiting for a decade plus, and they're still investing. They lost all their money in the first one, and they still came back.
That's crazy.
I was like, that's special. You could call it crazy or stupid or
Commitment.
Brave or just. I think it just proves how much people love this product or this concept. This is how badly people want it.
$34.26 million in accelerator investments and 2,000 delivery slots guaranteed. It's amazing. It's really astounding.
Yeah.
Like, huge congrats to them. They definitely deserve it. And
without an IPO.
yeah, no need to IPO right now.
They don't need to.
Right. So I have a lot of admiration and respect for people where the odds are against them and they're fighting against the current. And I don't know, maybe Tesla's too mainstream for us now.
Maybe
And we all drive them.
Well, I mean, like I said, the
I-
product's good.
I still love Tesla as a company.
Yeah.
The product is amazing. And maybe I would feel differently if Elon got kicked out. Maybe that might change my opinion of the company a lot if he wasn't there. But
He doesn't seem
yeah.
interested. He just doesn't seem.
No.
I don't know. He's just very. I don't know. I'm obviously jaded about something. I don't know if it's the empty promises or the missed timelines or something, but it's like it feels like he's just. I don't know.
Checked out.
Yeah. That's a good way of saying it. I like that. He just seems checked out, and like, then why are you move? Like, give this the revitalization that it needs. Then, at the head of the company, and technically, he still walks.
I
away on
honestly
top,
think-
you know.
Yeah. I honestly think a new leader that Tesla needs their Tim Cook. I feel like I've been saying that for a while. The guy that comes in and diversifies, because we're seeing Tesla kind of run out of demand here a bit with the price cuts, and everybody who kind of wants one has got one. So it has me thinking like maybe Elon's wrong about not needing that many models of vehicle. Like, there might be a point where they should consider diversifying a bit and having more trims and having more options for people to choose from, instead of just trying to build 2.5 million of the exact same car.
I would like
across all the countries.
more than 5 colors, please.
Yeah, right.
No.
Right. That's something Elon's probably not going to be okay with, but maybe a successor would be open to. And that could help change the demand around it.
Kim
They said, "Here's a
Took.
more
Kim Took
Right.
of Tesla.
get their own version. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any closing thoughts before we get too depressed?
Tim Cook retires from Apple, and he takes over Tesla.
That would be the ultimate move.
I can see the memes now. All the lightning ports under the cars and
Good
the
morning.
volume indicator on the windshield.
Here you go.
I'm so excited to be with you here today. This is the
Right.
best EV we've released. And we're calling everything's always revolutionary, whatever. It's like,
This is the best EV. That's good. All right.
I would say for flying under the radar while we were gone, 2 thumbs up for Mazda. Oh, that's funny. It captured the 2 thumbs up on there.
What did they do?
They adopted
joined.
NACS finally.
They joined.
It only took them a
Oh,
year
wow.
and some change.
They have a brain.
I-
Good for them.
Good for them. It makes me more excited to see, hopefully, a Miata EV in the future. I think that's what we need more of in this second and third wave of EVs, is sportier, 2-seater, fun EVs that get
like a
more
roadster.
of the...
Miata gang, rise up!
Pretty much.
Ooh, that's a cool one. Why didn't you give me that one?
Because I come across these from time to time. You have to leave.
You gave me a stupid leaf.
I got all the Teslas and then a Lucid, a Rimac, and a
I got nothing.
Roadster.
Who are you, out of spec Dave?
Yeah, instead of buying houses, I buy cars.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
But yeah, congrats to Mazda. Please do more smart choices with your cars.
Sounds good. Take care, all. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.